getting into the next session, if we practice the previous recording, it will be more clear whenever you are explaining. So usually I try to listen that recording again before
Right.
starting next one.
Yeah. So yesterday I've mainly I was trying to tell on the HTML that table thing, right? So
Yeah.
today I will just redo it again, and then things would be more clear. So let me just share my screen and start with today's thing. I will once I explain a bit more on this table thing, you should be able to understand on this. And then once we complete this topic, then I'll take your questions. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So not this one. So yesterday I was explaining on the table thing, right? When there is some table sort of element on in an application. So for an example, I have just searched for this HTML table and I found something. So this table, yes, I want to let's say we have got this in some page in our application testing way, and then there itself we just have to what now let's say this we need to seek contact with Helen, and what is the country for this Helen contact? It is UK, right? So same way in application in through our Tosca, we just have to verify those things. Let's say if we have to do that, how we can do? First thing, once we have this table kind of thing, what we will do is we will scan. Let me just scan a new module just for this table explanation. So I will scan it. So if you see this, and you see table, there's one thing, and then if I just highlight, it highlights this section, which means it is identifying this table. Or even if you don't get this, just leave it, condense, and then if you just mouse over on each of this element, you would get those identifiers, right? This is home, HTML, this run, and this thing. But what we are looking for is this particular area. So this particular area, when you mouse over, you would get a table element. So select this table element, and then that's it. Go back. So you get some iframe, this thing as well. Yeah, this Tosca, since it is identifying, you don't have to worry much about, but you need to still see the properties what are getting selected for each of the layer. So for this, title is W3 Schools Try It Editor. We are fine. If it changes, yes, you just have to make sure it is the correct way. Iframe and then ID. I'm still fine with that. HTML document. It is taking the URL of this. If URL is going to change something in this dynamically, then make sure you put star. This if this sort of thing remains constant, the other part keeps on changing, but the table is same, the page is same. Then what you can do as a URL part, you can just put it as star. So something like this over here, and then yeah, if not that default name or anything else, if you have, you can take it, but I'm fine with this one now. And now actual comes our table. So table thing, how are we identifying? Only based on tag table. So for this page, you see, yesterday I had already said in my previous session, saying most of the table thing, when we identify on a web page, there might be, in most of the cases, it would be just one table. but yeah, in some cases it might be more than one. But here, if you see, it is just one table. That's why just with the help of tag table, we were able to identify, since on this page there is only one table, tag with table. So if there were multiple, and then we need to see the other identifier like the default name, or even if default name doesn't fits class name or ID, something other unique identifier. So if not those things, then what you can do is you can also select by index, and then or anchor. Anchor would be what, based on this HTML table, we will identify this first table. If there is another second table, yeah, that might be the second one then. So that way we can differentiate. And so if you see the content now on this table, click show content preview. Once you click this, you would find this table contents over here. First row header is, we are considering it as, first row is considering as header in this thing, because based on this company, this thing we will identify. So we have this many records, and then this is the data, same thing, right? So I'm fine with this. I'll just say save. I will close it. And this one, let's say I will just take another test case. So I will drag a module, drag and drop onto my applications, and it creates actually a new test case. In this test case, the step has been added. This I'll change it to table test case, something like this. And now to the step, we have got this table. Table would have rows and columns, as I said. So rows, inside rows, there is cell. So this again considered as, let's say, row or column, row and column. In the same way, column, if it is there, based on what identifier, column, if it is column, then row. So on which, look, in a table, when we are identifying, we can identify any specific given record based on what row it falls under and what column it has. So if you see Helen, Helen is what? This is header row. Header we are considering, so it is not our row. But then this would be the first row, second row, third row, fourth. So Helen is fourth row. What is the column? So first column, second column. So it is second column. So fourth row, second column is Helen. And then that we are looking for country. So which is at third column, fourth row, third column. So now if you just see first thing, if you just want to uh, see if our identifiers are working fine or not. So row, as I said, it is what, dollar, and then the number, whatever you give is the row number. So here I am giving fourth row. And as soon as I give row, you see what it does to the table. It puts action mode as select. Even to this, it says select. And in the column, which is cell, so from here we can just go to the column number is 2, which we are looking for. And on that second column, what are we looking for? Let's say we want to get what is the text at this particular place. On this contact, for this fourth row, second column, what is the text present? So I would say in that case, since I am getting something from an application, what action mode do I have to put?
You mean the other action mode?
Yes. So from an application, I want to get something, some sort of data from
Oh,
application. If
buffer
I'm
on.
trying to get,
Buffer.
yes. So here we'll put buffer, and we are now from this location. So buffer of whatever location we are specifying. What location we have specified? Row number fourth, column number second. We are specifying, and we are buffering the data present in this particular thing. So I'll just say hit and then execute this. So at this point of time, it should give us the value called Helen bin. Seems like if it is taking this much of time, might be like it might fail. Uh, oh, it got passed, but I don't know why it is taking time. Shouldn't take. If you see, row number 2 has been assigned to Helen Bennett. So this value, yes. Now you would just test some other random thing. Let's say if you want this one. So what would be the row and column for this?
Row 1, column 6.
Right. So you have said it the other way. Row is what? This like horizontal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Row is 6. Column is vertical. This is column 1. So it would be column 1. So if you would see, you can take another thing as well. And dollar, first one is this row, right? So $6, row 6. I want row 6 and column as 1. I'm fine. So I want to even buffer uh, those detail. And so this is what it points here. And yeah, if you are specifying something which is not there, let's say, so you said you were saying column as 6th. So column as 6th, when you are saying, okay, column would be 6, then row is 1 if you are saying $1. So row you said as 1 and column you were saying 6. So now if you see, I've given, this is your thing which you have said, and these are the two other things which we are trying. And now let's say we are executing it. Once we execute, okay, since there are all these elements that's present, that is where this is taking bit more time.
So we
So
need
you
to
see,
make.
something has failed. If you see what has been failed, the row 4, row is 4, column is second, value is Helen, which is what? Row 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth row, second column, first, second. Second column is this. So row $4 is this one, and row $6 is the one that we were looking for. But you said row 1 and column 6. There is no such cell. Cell was not found because first one, what it is row. If you see this one, row, and then column. So you said row first and column is 6th, first, second, third. There is only 3, and other 3, if it was added, then it would have pointed to that part. Is it clear on this part?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So we don't want this. I will remove it. And yeah, so this is giving us those buffered details. And so same way in column wise, let's say if you want to identify. So if we are not using this row, we'll use this column. And now column would be uh, what is our column? Let's say I want to take country as a column, and that is our at third thing, right? So I'll say $3 and cell. So cell is nothing but, now here it comes row. Row would be what? Row 4 I want to give. So if I buffer the value, we'll see what we get. So you see, this is now based on column, the third one, and then column third, row was fourth, column was third, and row was fourth, first, second, third, fourth, which is UK. So it is giving us that UK value. So this is how with row and columns, yes, you can try to interact. And now let's say, so the other thing, just ignore, I'll take this one, another one. Now here, now we can identify based on row number and column number, right? There's other way as well, wherein what all options we have. If you would see here, for the cell, uh, directly at the column level, you can also get what it is like, let's say directly here. So I want on the fourth row, first, second, third, fourth. So fourth row, we were getting this contact based on column number 2, right? But let's say if this column is going to change, so its place, location, instead of second, the next time if it is at the third, then again our code we need to go and change. If you want contact Helen, then instead of column number 2, you need to say column number 3. And the next time again, if it changes to some other, then again you need to change your code. So which is what you have not written your code in a robust way. So how we need to handle it? So identify such kind of elements based on some identifier again. So based on this column itself, we will identify based on this column name, we will identify this particular thing. So row, yes, I want only fourth row, which I am sure, or first row, whatever you want. And then I'll say, okay, first row. First row, I want the column as from the contact thing. So I can just, instead of specifying the index for this contact, I'll just specify the name of that contact. So from this contact, I need to buffer something. I'll say this is my contact row 1, something like this. And now if I execute, yes, it will give me, it should give me this row number first contact, which is Maria. You see, Maria. Now you can just change any given row, and then contact for that would be buffered. If you want, it would be stored. So you can do it that way. Just change the row number to something else, and you would get that data. So this is with this way you can do. And also the other thing, let's say if you don't, uh, again, other things are, if you have something last content row, first empty row, header, last is what? Last row. Again, it specifies the last row. So dynamically we are just saying what is the last row. So last row in our application is this, right? So this has the contact, this one, last row. So it should give us this value when we use that last property. You see, it is giving us the last row's contact, because in the row thing we had specified the dollar last. So same way we also have at the column thing. So instead of this, we can also say dollar last. So dollar last to the row as well as to the column. When we say, what it specifies, row wise, what is the last is this, and column wise, what is the last, it is this. So which means it would give us this value. Am I making sense, Aruna?
Is it the additional thing you are giving?
Yes, some others. So sometimes when you don't want to specify, or your requirement would be like, okay, I just want what is the last data of a table. If it says, then you know the last data would be from the last row as well as from the last column. If it is that way, then you don't have to count what is the row for the last one, column for the last one, and give it. Instead of that, you can directly select dollar last, and then it gives us the last one. So these are some extra identifiers with which we can identify the elements of that table. So header, when we say just header, in header we are looking for last. Now what is our header? Our header is this, right? From this we are looking for the last one. What is the last one? It is country, right? So it would give us country. We said header, and now we can also say first empty row. That's very rare. Last content row. So last content row would be again whatever the last row where a content is present. So what row? Now what do you say? What is the last row in this table? Which one is the last row? This one, right?
Yeah.
So this is the last row and last content row. In this, what are we trying to get? We are trying to get the last cell, which is the last column or last cell. Again, this one, Italy, right? So it should give us that value.
What's the difference between last and last content row? Both are
Sometimes there would be sometimes there would be like uh, on a table there would be some empty fields wherein there won't be any content basically, but an empty column. So if we have that way, and then with this last content row, it would say make sure that whatever Tosca has identified the last row or column with some content, so it points to that part. So in a table there might be some scenarios wherein some things would be empty, and that empty, let's say if we just don't wanted to identify it, then we can just use this last content row. So it just makes sure the content is present in the last row. So if we just use dollar last in here, then if it is like whatever the column has, if it is empty as well, it points and it says it is empty, give us that value. But last content row wouldn't give us that value outside. So this one, yeah, don't try to stretch too much on this part. These are very rare scenarios wherein you would get it, but yeah, I'm just showing you the options, whatever we get.
in that case, if it is empty, what it will show?
Just empty
Last.
value you would get, or a last content row would give you. I guess I haven't tried that, but it would might be like the previous uh, column instead of last column, or if we have said last row, right? So this one it would come doesn't consider, and it would consider the previous row, the last one. So let's say how I can okay, I'll just remove this and I'll say run. So if you would say this is empty, now last content row, the last I am just trying to get. So now if you execute, I am assuming it might give us this Canada, because last row is this, but the content is in here, right? So I'm not sure if it is identifying. Let's see what it gives. See, okay, it is giving empty. Or the whole thing, when it is giving empty, if we just remove all this thing, plus content. Okay, and if we just give this way, tr, but still there is this tr, I guess Tosca might identify this one. Okay, so in this case, the last content row. So row itself should not be there. So if you see, yes, we have one row, but all these fields are empty. Now when these three things are empty, so it is not, Tosca is not considering the last row. Last row is it's there is a row, but since it is there's no content, so last content is specifying to the previous one.
If we use
And
last, so what that will give empty, you mean?
let's try. It should give us that one. You see, empty.
Yeah.
So it is specifying to the last one.
And the other one is you are using the constraint for the column, right? In the other
Uh,
example. So
yes, I
can't we
will
use it for
use
row?
the same thing. Yeah, yeah, we can use it. I'll do that now. So this part is fine. I'll just refresh this again so that I get the data. And now to use, okay, first thing. So for Helen, I want the country, right? What I will do is just remove this. So row and then the cell. So row, let's say I'm not sure, but the column contact, I want to have a contact with this. Copy this contact, and the contact is this. So this contact, I just want it as constraint, and based on this constraint of uh, contact Helen Bennett, I want what is the country. Country, I want to buffer. So here I'm not specifying the row number, and just the based on some contact, I want its country. So if it is that
So you are
way,
using two columns for that.
uh, because we want the second column data, right? Or the first column data, when you say uh, uh, why two columns is your requirement saying I want uh, a country who has a contact Helen Bennett. So Helen Bennett would be our identifier, our constraint. And then based on that constraint, since we wanted country. So when you say we want country, countries are what? This many. Out of this, which one do you want? I want Helen Bennett's country. So which means you have to give some identifier, some constraint, right? That is where I have given constraint as uh, here, this Helen Bennett. So that constraint, I want country for that.
Pradeep, in the same way, based on the row, like the company name, based on the company name which is in the row,
Yeah.
can we get in that way?
Yes. Company name. What is your company name you want? Which one are you looking for?
Island trading.
Island trading. So let's say copy this, and then
But
uh,
again, here you are using in the column, but I want to do it on the row.
it is actually uh, uh, how should I just tell you? Yes, it is column, but like you just assume it. No, Tosca, leave about Tosca row and column. So if you see the table contents here, how would you want to identify island trading? You would basically identify based on this thing only, right? Island
Yes,
trading is
here
nothing
we
but it
don't
falls under
have.
company.
Yes, yes, I understand. Here we have only headers for the columns and not for the rows. If we have
Mm.
such headers for
Uh,
the rows as well,
row,
then we can identify, right?
yes, you can take it that way, and but that won't be an ideal scenario in real time when we are doing. So for a table based thing, when we are interacting with, we would have only uh, the header row, and not this column wise this row. So that might not work. Yeah, but yeah, if that is the case, very rare scenario, 1% of chance, and that you can take and use it that way.
Here the header is a constant. It usually won't get changed. So that's the reason you are referring that, right?
Correct. So we want something which is constant on the page, and then by catching that particular part, we are just trying to traverse to the other elements.
Okay, got it. I understand.
Yeah. So here company with this island, I want country, and also before I want country, let's say for this, verify the contact for company island is Helen Bennett. So I'm just saying verify this one. I'm verifying the contact is this for the company island trading, and uh, I also want what is the country for this contact. So I would buffer it. Now if I say, so in this one constraint we are keeping on a company, and then contact we are verifying if it is Helen, country we are buffering what is the value of for this contact. So it should be UK, right? So those two things it should verify. So verification is successful. Expected was this value, and actual is also the same. Country for that contact was UK. You can buffer it, or you can still verify n number of things, or you can also put multiple constraint. You have put constraint one here, you can also put constraint another constraint here. So for this two constraint, I want the country. For this two constraint, I want the country. So if you see, it would give us that country, UK. So this is one scenario. Now, let's say only I'll take only based on company. Yes, I'm identifying country, and let's say island trading. So if you see this island trading now, it's it's only one row. What if we had at multiple places? Uh, for this, what I will do is in the company thing, centro. Centro, I'll just change it to island trading, and some other place I will also change it to island trading. So if you say, now you said company with constraint as island trading, if it is there. So when you see here, you had island trading at second row, you had at fourth row, you had at sixth row. Which one are you specifying? You are saying you want country for island trading, but island trading has one country Mexico, another country UK, another is Italy. How would you now specify which one is what? So if you just execute this one in this way, now what Tosca would is also not sure, is ambiguous on what particular element you are looking for. So you need to be more specific when you are having such kind of scenarios. So Tosca would also, like, it doesn't gives anything on its own until and unless you say it. So if you say, what is the error? More than one control found for action row. Because whatever identifier you are specifying, there is more than one control, more than one element, which is at this row, which is at this row, which is at this row. So in this, in such case, you need to specify what is the row, one thing, directly row. But then rows are changing. Then this identifier also has to match with that. So if we say row is some third row, so I'll say third row, and the company is island trading. So if I execute that, see what happens. Basically, it would not find that element. You see, it has failed. Row 3 was not found because in row 3, first, second, third row, company is this one. Company name is this. So, but you had a constraint saying company should be this. So on row 3, there is no such constraint. That is where it won't give you this value. So row, yes, you cannot identify it this way. So if you have more than one thing, constraint, this one, this one, this one, then you need to be more specific. I am actually looking for company with island trading and whose contact is Helen Bennett. So another constraint. So other thing what I can do is Helen Bennett. So you can say, why don't we just use Helen Bennett as the identifier and get the country? Yes, you can do that one. If you are sure, okay, you are looking for Helen Bennett, then you can find this. But what if there are multiple Helen Bennetts again? Right? Even that scenario can come. I'm just trying to give all the
Yes.
possibilities that can
Yes.
come. So just let me know if you are getting confused. I would repeat it again.
No, no, no. There is a possibility like the same person can
Correct.
have the same number in multiple countries.
Correct, correct. So when you have such things, so we give more than one identifier again on the same thing. So here we'll come and we are looking for company with this and the contact with the name as this and the constraint. And then I want that country. Now this should give us the result, which is UK.
So, how you said in the two constraints also we are not getting there is a duplications. So, can we take the other as a constraint, another element?
Yes, we can take other one as well. And then here, oh, I didn't got that error. Row is not found. Sometimes uh, this one acts weirdly. Uh, so it would actually give us this island trading and then contact with this one. But then again, even this one is same, even this one is same at two places. Then even as manually, if you are looking for that sort of scenario, then what do you need apart from this? So then you would question to yourself or the requirement saying if Island Trading and Helen Bennett is at two places and it is at the second thing as well, right? Island here. Let's say if it is this. So you see this one Helen Bennett and even this one is Helen Bennett. Now you are saying company with contact, I want country. But when you see there are two. So do you want the first country or do you want the second country? So that would be your question, right? Either you want first or you want second.
Yes.
So if there are any other columns, yes, if that columns are unique, then take that as a constraint and use it. But if let's say even in this scenario, even if this is not matching and then all the columns has the same data, but then we just want either the first or second based on some index, right? So we are saying now first or second. So in this case, let's say I want the first with Island Trading and Helen Bennett. If our requirement is that, then uh, how I'll do on the row, I'll just put something called #1. Now here #1 is nothing but first occurrence of whatever we are trying to give. What we are trying to give? We are trying to give company with Island Trading and contact with Helen Bennett. We want the country. So first occurrence of I company and contact with this name is what we are looking for. Now if we execute it, it would give us that Mexico. You see Mexico. Now you say, okay, I don't want first occurrence, I want second occurrence. So here you just change it #2 and then second occurrence, not the row. So hash is not the row. We are saying occurrence of whatever the next identifiers we are giving. We are given identifiers with company and contact so and so data that it has to match, and second occurrence of that is UK. Now third occurrence of this, if we say, do you see any third occurrence with this Island Trading and Helen Bennett? Do you have anything? No. So which means it should fail. It shouldn't give us any data. So you see it has failed. And then failure reason, if you would see, there is no row, no such row. So there's no third occurrence. Again, if the table has been added with third occurrence, and then it would give us the third occurrence of that thing. But yeah, mostly
Also, we can give the whatever the value we want. We can also give that, right? Instead of giving index, store the value if it is this one at the
yes,
entry.
yes, we can store and do it that way. So all this with table, I think I'm making it bit complex with all these possibilities, wherein most of the time, 80 to 90% in the scenarios, what you would do is when you scan a table, come here, you would specify row number or column number, or even the row with column, uh, some column you would say, and then has this value, and then you might be trying to add something to that data, add on based on the table if these are a text box field. So you want island with company with island, Helen with this, want to enter country as uh, uh, India. So that thing, if you want to enter, if you want to do this, since this, if this would be just text box field, you would identify this two things as a constraint, and to the third row, to the third column, you would input some sort of data. Just instead of buffering, you would say input, and then I want India to be input in this particular location. If the application is at this particular location having a text box field, so it works that way. Am I clear? So instead of text box, it can be a checkbox, it can be a radio button, it can be anything. So mostly data, if it is there, you have to verify this thing or get something from a data page, and then go move on to the next steps, and whatever data you have stored, that would be used in later part of your test case or the other test case, anything. So there are what all possible things that can come. That is where I'm just specifying this one. Now you just kind of practice it, do it by yourself, say it, and then you would get more understanding of this table thing. So even yes, it took me a bit of longer time to understand in the initial stages about this thing, but then as I kept doing things, it got easier for me. So same thing would go with you. Only thing is, yes, on the very first day, to be frank, even the other sources, that whatever I had found, it was not in detail whatever I am explaining it to. So this is not just one day of thing that I did. It is from a long time, and I've been observing things. That is where I'm just sharing all my experience, what all things possible scenarios can come. Most of them, even in their first session of this table thing, they might not explain all these things. They would just say, okay, specify row, specify the column, and then use it. That's it. And then let's move on to the next topic. They do it that way. But here, I'm just trying to do it less, but to the most effective way. What all things can come is what I'm just trying to cover it, all those things. So this hash, to be frank, even an experienced guy who was just beside me, and he is not aware of what uh, he or she, again, there were people wherein the people were not aware of what this dollar is and what this hash is, why that's a difference, and they don't have clear understanding of that thing, even if they are experienced, well experienced, because yeah, they have not come across those scenarios even at that experience level way. But I am, yes, trying to give you that knowledge as well, wherein yes, if some scenario comes up, you should be able to relate it and do it. So like last content row, last row, yeah, most of them they don't in general thing, they don't use it. There's nothing such specific. uh, uh, yeah, few might not be aware of this, but yeah, I'm just saying you the possible things. That's it. I would say about this table, yes, let's let it be this thing, and yes, you just practice something on your own, and then if you get something doubts, I'll clarify it in the next session related to this table thing. So any questions, any doubts you want to ask, or I'll just give a pause
Uh, no, no. I'm done.
related to anything previous sessions as well, if you have anything else.
Yes, yes. On the previous sessions, I have done.
You want to share your screen and show, or
No,
is that
just examples. And
okay?
Pradeep, can we get definitions for any terms? Do we have any website or anywhere can we get
What is that?
definitions of the Tosca terms in the
Okay,
interview?
okay. Got it, got it. So that I will share it going forward, like within some sessions. I'll share it. I'll share that documentation part wherein yes, you would refer to that thing.
Okay,
I'll share it. Yeah, I'll share it soon.
okay.
Yeah.
Other thing is it is about a library.
Okay.
I add any steps from the library, but I want to change the name of the test step.
Oh.
Do you understand? I have dragged the something code from the library to my test case, but
Uh-huh.
that I feel that test step name is not suitable to my test case. So can I edit here?
Yes. So here, if you see, you're talking about this one, right? Uh,
Yes.
Uh, so this one, we have dragged and drop, created a library, and then uh, uh, we have the steps now. But then the step of this is nothing but the library reference name is what you think you want to change it. Yes, here you can change this one. Say your opening application, open app. You can just say. But open app is referring again to this library only. If you just right click jump, it would go to launch with these things.
Okay. And
So here it is open app. In the other thing, again we are referring to the same library, but here you don't want open app, you want opening application and wait time, open and wait for application. So there are, these are the references, but it is, yeah, referring to the same library. If you would see, it is referring to this, but the names are different in each individual test case. So in this test case, for this I've renamed it to this, but in this test case I'm named it to this one.
yeah, yeah. And the other one is about business parameters. So in the I already have taken business parameters. I added it. So now I can see that in my test case. So in
Right.
that business parameter, can we modify or can we add data type and action modes?
Yes, you can
Actually,
do
here
that.
password is visible, right? So I don't want to show it to others. So I want to
Right,
change it to password.
right. So in that case, yes, you can change it. So password here, if you would say, has input action mode, and the data type is string. So here you just change it to password, and then once you click it, uh, so we got this one. And now if you would see to this one, if you would enter, I'm not sure it. Action mode. Okay. Once again, I have to drag and drop again. So password is this, and I'll just drag and drop, or just create with this. Just a second, Aruna.
Yeah.
So yeah, in here, oh, we can just set the action mode as well. If you would change it to some wait on when we are seeing. Uh, yes. Okay, I'll check on this part and I will let you know, Aruna, for this. But
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure we can change it. We can do that. I'll just check uh, this part.
Okay, okay.
Anything
And
else?
yeah, yeah. If we are dragging that, means we are taking the library part when we added a business business
Uh,
parameters. So from there, I'm not able to see the steps after adding the business parameter. Before adding the business parameter, I'm able to see the steps what are there in that test step.
Correct, correct. So that is basically it is the Tosca thing. But yeah, if you wanted to see it, so this is what you're saying. So you are seeing business parameter. Once you added business parameter, what step it has is what you won't be able to see. You need to see in the library, one thing, or here itself. If you wanted to see that steps, then what you have to do is there is some shortcut. I don't know F9, if it is F9 or F11. If you press it, you would see that step. Or on the test cases section, you have something called show test step details. So click on this by selecting this one, and then you would be able to see the steps.
Oh, explicitly we need to select. Okay, okay.
Yes. So F11, you see the shortcut F11. So F11 is the steps to hide and hide this thing. So I've clicked again. So it is hiding that step. If you
Okay.
didn't want to
I thought
see that.
I did something wrong. That's the reason I'm unable to see that. I felt that.
No, no, it's not. It is that implementation by default thing what Tosca does. So yeah.
Okay, brother. Uh, these are only for now.
All right. So we have gone through the tables thing today, and I hope the tables one this part is clear with different things. Just keep trying from your side and see what you can do. And if there's any doubts, yes, for tomorrow's session I would take on that part. And about the libraries and previous things, yes, it is mm, that it. That's it, I guess. So tomorrow I would explain you the next sessions. So anything else, Aruna, from your side on this part?
No, Pradeep, but regarding that registration, if I'm not successful, maybe I'll be in contact.